Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this is the late round draft steal video of my preseason content. Now, last year this video was one of my most popular videos, and for a good reason, right? These are guys that have really late ADPs that should be going a lot earlier. Guys that you can really get as steals later in the draft, and guys that can really help you win your fantasy hockey championship. Now I'm happy, guys. There's a lot of reasons to be happy right now. I'm a Packers fan. They're not as bad as we thought they were going to be. Got this beautiful Team Solani Winnipeg Jets jersey behind me, which is, my favorite player of all time. So, I'm happy that I'm busting that one out today. I hope you guys enjoy this video today. Now, before we do get started, though, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Trust me, you're going to want to be subscribed for all the content I got for you. This video, it's going to be a banger itself, and there's going to be even more great content just around the corner for you. And if you do want to take that support to the next level, you definitely can follow me on Patreon as well. You're going to get some nice bonus perks there, like a direct access to messages with me at even the lowest tier, so you can message me whenever you have a question at all. And then at the maximum tier, you actually get to video call with me once a month if you wish to do so, and I'll help you out however I can with your fantasy hockey team. Now in this episode, I'm excited to announce that we are once again partnering with our friends at MANSCAPED. Why are we doing that once again, guys? Because I'm actually a really big fan of their products. It's the third year now that I'm partnering with MANSCAPED, and definitely don't regret it for a second, guys. Their products are really good. Use them on a regular basis, and trust me, guys, if you haven't jumped on the MANSCAPED bandwagon yet, you're going to want to do so. If you were thinking about getting MANSCAPED, guys, I got a great deal for you guys. Use the code word FANTASYTIP for 20% off your order and free shipping at manscaped.com. Let's jump into the content now, guys, without further ado. And let's start with the first guy on this list that is an absolute steal. So that guy is Filip Forsberg. He's got the lowest ADP on this list, which is 136.3. And at that ADP, he is an absolute steal. Forsberg, if he can stay healthy, which is the kicker, he can easily be a top 75 player. He is a top 75 player if he stays healthy. Now, he could even potentially be a top 50 player at his potential. The only thing is he has to stay healthy. He hasn't stayed perfectly healthy in quite a few years now, and so there's obviously reason to believe that he could miss, another 20 games this year, which is possible. But as of right now, he is healthy and definitely worth the risk at this current ADP. Definitely like me some Filip Forsberg this year. All right, now the next guy on this list is Pavel Buchnevich of the St. Louis Blues. And at his ADP of 137.8, he also could be a steal. He's another guy that's missed a little bit of time with injuries, missed about 19 games last year with an injury. But honestly, guys, overall, Pavel Buchnevich is someone that you want on your team. And he's definitely someone that, if healthy, can easily be a top 75 player overall. And at this ADP, definitely a good idea. I'd prefer Forsberg over Buchnevich. However, if someone takes Forsberg, Buchnevich is also an excellent pick in this range. Next guy I have on this list, and this guy I'm sure you guys all expected to see here on this list, is Valeri Nichushkin. And initially I had him as a top 50 player. I still have him as a top 75 player easily. And honestly, guys, there's a good reason, right? He's going to be playing on the top power play the entire year with McKinnon and Rantanen. And last year, he really showed what he can do. And he's probably going to be playing second line with maybe one of those guys as well. Either way, guys, he's going to get plenty of ice time and plenty of opportunities to put up lots of points. I love me some Valeri Nichushkin, especially at an ADP of 141. He could easily finish at half that ADP if this dude can stay healthy. Next on this list, guys, is Caufield with an ADP of 142.9, and you're probably noticing a trend at this point. A lot of these guys are guys that have dealt with some injuries recently, and that's why they have missed some games, and is probably why they're ranked so low. Caufield's another one of those guys, and I think this year is his breakout year, guys. If he can stay healthy, he's easily a top 100 player, potentially a top 75 player, and an ADP of 142.9. A guy who's guaranteed top power play, a guy who's guaranteed top line, and is the favorite player of head coach Martin St. Louis. So definitely something you're going to want to keep in mind. Caufield is someone that I want on my team this year. Next guy on this list is Anze Kopitar, who I have ranked as the 81st best forward, but honestly, guys, his ceiling's even higher than that, and he's pretty much as safe as it gets. The dude barely gets injured. He played all 82 games last year, and he's guaranteed top power play, guaranteed top line. He's still playing with studs, and the dude, even at his age, is still producing. It doesn't get that much safer than that. The only thing is he is a natural center, so if you've already drafted centers early in your draft, Kopitar, even if he is available, you're not going to want him because you're not going to be able to play him. So that's the only thing. You really should be waiting until really late in your draft to draft natural centers, unless you're getting McDavid, Matthews, or McKinnon. Obviously, you're going to take them. But other than that, guys, the centers, you should be drafting them late because you can get some absolute steals just like Kopitar over here at almost an ADP of 150. The next guy on this list is Sam Reinhart. He finished just inside or outside the top 100 fantasy player, depending on your league type last year. He's being drafted this year at 151, so that's about 50 spots higher than he finished last year. Here's the kicker. He had an incredibly strong second half of the season last year. He had 40 of his 67 points last year in the second half of the year. If he takes that momentum into 2023-24, we've got ourselves an absolute treat here with Sam Reinhart. Plus, his shooting percentage was actually super low compared to the previous 2 seasons he had. 13.7% last year versus 17.7 and 19.2 the previous 2 seasons. Yes, it's mostly in line with his career average, but even if he has the exact same season, he's still ranked low with that shooting percentage. He's pretty much locked into the top power play and probably the top line too with Barkov. I absolutely love drafting Sam Reinhart this year, and that eligibility, both center and right wing, is really, really nice as well. Next, I have Joel Eriksson Ek of the Minnesota Wild, ADP of 154.3. He's one of my absolute favorite players to be drafting this year, especially at this ADP. I have him as the 37th ranked forward this year. He is someone that is really on my radar as an amazing steal this year in fantasy drafts. Arguably, probably should have made him my MANSCAPED must draft of the video. He is someone that I'm super, super high on. He's as safe as they get. The dude shot 250 times just about last year. He hits to give you a slate floor there, and he puts up points. He's put up over 60 points last year. He's guaranteed top power play. Potentially could play with Kaprizov. Even if he doesn't, he'll play with Kaprizov on that power play. He is such an underrated forward, and definitely that's why you shouldn't be drafting natural centers early, because you can get absolute treats like Joel Eriksson Ek so late in the draft. That's why this is a really good ADP for him. Next, I have Nikolaj Ehlers, who as of right now lost his right wing eligibility, so he's just a left winger right now, but he could end up gaining that back if he does play on the right wing, which is possible. And he's probably locked into that top line and top power play in Winnipeg right now. Ehlers is someone that I like a lot. And obviously last year he had a down year, and the year before wasn't his best year either. But at his potential, guys, this dude is a top 50 player. Easily. Like, if he can play even close to that, he's locked in to be a top 100 player, like guaranteed. And he's going at almost 160th overall. And as of right now, he's only being drafted in 61% of leagues, which is absolutely crazy. He's someone that I'm super high on, guys. And if you can get him this late in your draft, you absolutely cannot pass up on Nikolaj Ehlers. He's someone that just has way too much upside to let slip through your fingers. If you see him available to you this late, you absolutely have to pull the trigger and draft him. Now, Sam Bennett is a funny one. ADP of 159.6 and only 18% rostered. I have him as the 63rd best forward overall in the league, and he's being drafted in only 18% of leagues. This could be the biggest steal of them all. He's locked into a top 6 role, potentially top power play, though that's not guaranteed. But he's going to be playing with the likes of Matthew Tkachuk or Sam Reinhart. Like, he's got some really good line mates potentially waiting for him in Florida this year. Couple that with the fact that he gives you a really safe floor with those shots and those hits that he dishes out. Sam Bennett is someone that I'm absolutely looking to draft this year, especially at that ADP. And honestly, looking at that rostered percentage, you may even be able to sneak him in the last round of your draft, which is absolutely mind-boggling. Like I said, guys, natural centers, you can get some really, really good value ones later in your draft. Next is my MANSCAPED must-draft player of the video, Mike Matheson. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIP. Now, why is Mike Matheson my MANSCAPED must-draft player of the video? In my opinion, if Mike Matheson can stay healthy this year, he's a top 20 defenseman in the league. Why? If you saw his production and his peripherals last year on his first year with Montreal in the short amount of games that he played, you'd see that Mike Matheson is primed for an amazing year this year in Montreal. And especially if everybody else can stay healthy, that power play can get even better. And Mike Matheson is going to have the season of his career. Someone that I really love this year and someone that you absolutely have to draft this late in draft. Honestly, I'd even throw a pick at him a few rounds earlier than that to make sure you get him, because he can be an absolute treat or steal for you in fantasy drafts. I'm so excited to watch Mike Matheson play this year as a Habs fan. It's going to be an absolute treat for anybody who owns him in fantasy and for any Habs fans out there. Next is Connor Brown of the Edmonton Oilers. I know Edmonton tried to sign him last year, didn't work out, ended up going to Washington, ended up getting injured the whole year. Now Edmonton got him on a nice discount deal, and he's probably going to end up playing with Connor McDavid this year. That's why they got him. They used to play together in juniors, and they both did really, really well together. They have the chemistry. So there's no reason he won't be playing with Connor McDavid on that top line. Definitely completes that top six really nicely in Edmonton. And this guy is probably going to have himself a really nice year. Obviously, he's probably not going to get top power play time unless there's some kind of injury to a player or two. But still, Connor Brown getting that opportunity to play alongside Connor McDavid with that already established chemistry is something that you definitely can grab with one of your last picks in the draft. He's only being drafted in 21% of leagues right now. Definitely someone I'd like to take a shot at if he is available in one of your last picks. Next guy on this list was Boone Jenner. Of the Columbus Blue Jackets, only 20% rostered, and according to Yahoo, doesn't have an ADP, which means he's going super late in any drafts that are drafting Boone Jenner. Now, Boone Jenner, to me, is very, very, very easily a top 100 player. He was a top 100 player to 120 player in just about all league formats last year. Yes, Fantilli and Sillinger are around, but even when he wasn't paired with Columbus's stars last year, he was still productive. He's a peripherals juggernaut. The dude hits, he shoots, and he even blocks a block per game, which is pretty unheard of among forwards. And this late in your draft, you literally cannot go wrong with drafting these guys. He's great in categories league, and he's great in points-based league that have those peripherals as well to give you a really safe floor night in and night out. I personally love Boone Jenner, and I could not recommend him more going into the year. The next guy on this list is much more of a dart throw. He doesn't have an ADP, and he's only rostered in 13% of leagues. That is Sean Couturier. Supposedly going into this year, he's fully healthy. He didn't play at all last year and played very, very little the year before. So we don't know how much of his former self that he really still is. However, before he got injured, he was an elite center, getting a lot of points fantasy-wise. And honestly, guys, if you want to throw a dart at Sean Couturier with your last pick of the draft, it's absolutely worth it. As long as you still have room for a natural center on your roster, Couturier could be an absolute steal for you, because even if he gets back to, 75% of his former self, he's got plenty of value. So we're getting down to some more, riskier picks at this point, but Vilardi is my next one, and he had a really good year last year. He was top 130 to top 180 in most league formats. And a lot of that was third line minutes, so that's pretty impressive how well he did. Now, he was not consistent at all. He started off strong, but had a very bad November, December, and February. He finished strong in March, and then had a very, very good series versus the Oilers, scoring 4 points in 5 games. Now he was dealt to Winnipeg from Los Angeles, where he's expected to be their number 2 center, because they just traded, Pierre-Luc Dubois for him. So he's now their number 2 center, but could end up their number 1 center even if Scheifele gets traded, which is possible at the deadline if Winnipeg is not making the playoffs, which is very, very possible. So I think Vilardi might be lined up for a really strong year. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on him. Even if you don't end up drafting him, he might be a pickup in one of my very first waiver wire videos because he's someone that I'm very, very excited to see on Winnipeg and someone that I'm very much looking forward to potentially picking up in fantasy this year. All right, so obviously I have to include a goalie on this list, and that goalie is Joel Hofer at 7% roster. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to pay off immediately to draft Joel Hofer, but if you have a big roster perhaps and a lot of bench spots maybe, Joel Hofer is someone that I like to hold right now because Binnington was not very good last year, was not really that good the year before either. Hofer looked really good in that small sample size that he played last and could potentially take over as that number one goalie in St. Louis. Now, I actually see a lot more of a split start situation to begin with in St. Louis than maybe a lot of people think. Binnington is being drafted in a lot more leagues than Hofer is, but I think St. Louis is actually going to be better than people think next year. I think Hofer is going to get a good amount of starts and potentially take over as that starting position. You don't necessarily have to draft him right now, but definitely keep a very close eye on Joel Hofer because if Binnington struggles, this guy's going to be the starter, and he's someone that you're going to want to add. Next guy on this list is kind of a funny one, being a Habs fan, Jonathan Drouin. He has not been good for many years. He didn't play well in Montreal for any of the years he was here, really. Now, he's getting a really nice opportunity, though, playing with Colorado, right? He's pretty much guaranteed a spot in their top 6. Probably not on the top power play, but a lot of people are projecting him to play on the top line with Rantanen and McKinnon potentially. If he does, that could potentially revitalize his career. He's definitely still got plenty of skill. I think he just felt too much pressure in Montreal, right? There is a lot of pressure on these players in Montreal. He's from Montreal as well, so he felt even more pressure. And you know what? He doesn't have that media pressure in Colorado. So potentially he'll be able to unlock his full potential over there. And at only 6% rostered, you know what? If you're in a super deep league, it's probably worth taking a shot at him. I know he has injury histories as well, but as of right now, he's fully healthy. Why not throw a dart at Jonathan Drouin with that opportunity that he's being given? And finally, last guy on this list is Cam York of the Philadelphia Flyers. He's pretty much guaranteed top power play right now in Philly at only 4% rostered. I mean, I'm not expecting huge things from Cam York this year. The Philadelphia Flyers did have the worst power play in the league last year, but if Couturier comes back, if Atkinson comes back, things could really get better for Philadelphia this year, and Cam York can maybe start unlocking his potential this year. He's definitely someone that if I'm not drafting in a super deep league, I'm definitely keeping a close eye on because he's someone that could really break out this year and someone that I'm looking forward to seeing this year. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really, really appreciate you guys watching all the way through the video. So if you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tip.